supper and a mother at the best place around. Some stupid with a flare gun burned the place to the ground. Smoke on the water, fire in the sky. Smoke on the water. Burned down the gambling house. It died with an awful sound. Funky and Claude was running in and out, pulling kids out of the ground. But when it all was over, you had to find another place. Swiss time was running out. It seemed that we would lose the race. Smoke on the water, fire in the sky. Smoke on the water.
You wanna know what goes on backstage? Oh, come on. Let me take you by the hand. Ow!
Rudy, are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen,
The way I see it, Barry, this should be a very dynamite show.
You know, I have no idea what the name of this program is, but you're watching it.
Backstage,
All you ever want,
backstage,
all you ever need.
backstage.
Your dreams will be fulfilled once you are there, you'll never wanna leave. You wanna sell your ass for that backstage pass. Backstage is just for the invited. Backstage. They've laid on everything. It's Dana Gillespie here. I'm in Jazz Land in Vienna, a place I've been coming to since 1980. And today, marvelous, this book, here I am, naked of course, in the bath with Rudy
you
Dolitz.
look exactly like you look today.
No, yeah.
There's no
Well, this
difference.
must have been taken about 1981, 1982,
Correct.
from that program Ohne Malkorb, when
Yeah.
I was singing with the Mojo Blues Band. And every 10 years, roughly, you and I, Rudy, we get naked again
yeah.
into the bathtub with lots of shower, as you call it here, foam, and we do another interview.
Yes.
So we're just about coming up to the fourth one, which will be interesting. So I'm in his book, and the pictures of me and him are in my book, which has just come out, called Weren't Born a Man. So I should have had my book here too. I should have used it as a bikini top.
I will put it in. I cut it in, darling.
Yes.
And you are wonderful. Thank you so much. I
It's
love
good
you.
to be on the screen. Yay! Enough of this. I think you are. Can you take it standing up? I can give it to you lying down. Come on. Try playing with fire. Backstage. Backstage.
Und wer es noch nicht gelesen hat, aber hallo, Buchtipp des Jahres, alright.
Hallo bei Ohne Maulkorb mit tolle Zahl. Der Sendung, die interessante Themen behandelt, vor allem aber interessante Gäste hat. Und heute freue ich mich ganz besonders, meinen lieben Freund, darf ich sagen, Tony Zawinul zu begrüßen, Sohn des berühmten Jazz-Legende Joe Zawinul und Bruder von Erich Zawinul. Dazu kommen wir später. Tony, welcome. I'm very, very pleased that you are here, my guest.
Vielen Dank, danke schön.
Wir werden diese Sendung teilweise in Deutsch, aber mostly in English machen, die dann Untertitel bekommt. Toni spricht Deutsch.
Max es in Italianisch an.
Italian?
If you want, I can speak Italian.
Oh, grazie mille. Ecco, per favore, pasta asciutta, spaghetti carbonara,
Che bellissimo,
pizza,
tu parli
4
bellissimo.
stagioni. Das sind ungefähr
Allora, basta.
Nein, aber wir werden es Deutsch und Englisch machen. Wir werden interessante Themen, positive Themen, traurige Themen besprechen. Wir werden sehen. Ja? So, Tony, my new beginning for this show is that I'm very quickly asking a question.
Okay.
With you, I was thinking, obviously an obvious question, but for Austria, not uninteresting. It's a little different than in America. What means racism to you? Was bedeutet Rassismus für dich?
Well, it's an interesting word. I mean, the short, I try to keep not so much the short but and not so much the long answer, somewhere in the middle. Because it's a complex, question, to really think about it. Because racism, I think, for many people can mean very different things. In my case, I would assume since, for me, it's quite different, obviously, coming from mixed family, being a product of interracial marriage. I see racism in so many different ways. But the common thread, I would think, for racism mostly is ignorance, fear, I've been in places with my dad, especially traveling, being on tour, and being in places that there's been no other specks of color, let's say, right? And always felt quite normal, actually. I mean, maybe for me a little bit slightly different because of my environment, how I grew up. One thing both of my parents instilled for me from a very young age was, it's not so much color or anything, it's how you carry yourself. And I know I've been in places where it's like no, like I said, any speck of any kind of color. And
Which means only white people around, or what?
White or only black or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's how you carry yourself. If you walk into a place and you some kind of a-hole, then you're going to be treated as such, and then the whole who knows what. But if you walk into places and just be yourself, I've always been in this position to try to treat people as I would be treated, as I would like to be treated. So for me, I could care less, really. I've never really, in my whole entire life, I've never thought of color. That doesn't mean I'm not aware of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware of certain things. I have friends on both sides of the aisle that some are really racist, and some have or in denial about their racism. Mm-hmm. And racism sometimes doesn't mean that they're like racist. They might have tendencies, it might be surroundings, they might say certain things and this is what I was saying, out of ignorance. Because maybe they're just ignorant, they don't know. It's always interesting to see when if you're with white. I mean, I grew up, most of my friends, I have a mixture of all kinds of friends, but it's always been interesting that being especially in the States, that with some of my friends, white friends, to be in a place and they're the only white person. And they're like, oh my God, I'm the only white person here. It's like, yeah. And
so they're more aware of it
than
you, for example.
I said, man, it's like...
Relax.
It's like, you know how many times I've been the only, person of color in the situation? Never thought about it, So it's interesting.
Well, it depends, I think, a little bit about the scene that you're in or the people that you mix. Because, I mean, living in America myself, Miami, you're from Los Angeles, or you live in Los Angeles. Of course, I saw all this Black Lives Matter, which had a reason, and all those police violence where mostly white policemen were treating mostly black people very inhuman. And without dignity and without fairness, etc. So, I mean, the police, you know, I mean, so it's there. What you, I think, if I understand you correctly, what you mean is if you are yourself are not putting this out, I am black, I am white, I am so-and-so, if you treat everybody the same, which we should do, then you have a good chance that the reaction of your other side is also going to be without prejudice and without racism. I think that's what you mean.
Absolutely. I mean, I can give a half a dozen experiences, but a couple come to mind. For instance, is I mean, one time in high school, for instance, I had my car, and I was driving late, and I was going to a party, and I was going really fast. I drive fast anyway, so I'm driving really fast, and I'm in an area in Los Angeles, in Arcadia, which at that time was like, let's say, 99% lily white, okay? And I'm going there to a party. I run a red light. Boom. I say, shit, ran the light. Police car comes, right, with the lights. I get out the car. He goes, hey, what's the rush? And I go, and I just kind of like just froze. I said, shit, I'm going to get this. And didn't think about nothing about it. It was a cop. And then, you know, there was not even Black Lives Matter thing or anything like that. But my first reaction was, shit, I'm going to get a ticket, you know. And I looked at the policeman and I said, oh, you know, my brakes went out. I just took my car to the shop, to the brakes, and the brakes don't work. And I was kicking the tires. I was like, God, stupid mechanic and all that. And the cop said, hey, calm down. I tell you what, can you drive it a few blocks? You think it's enough we can drive it and park it? And I said, I think so. He goes, well, I'll escort you over there. And he escorted me to the place, didn't write me no ticket. And hey,
he was a white guy.
White cop, yeah.
Yeah.
Never no problem. I mean, I've been, my favorite story is, which is kind of recent, a couple of years ago. One of my college buddies comes, I went to San Jose State University on an athletic scholarship. And one of my buddies comes down and says, hey, Tony, I got a brand new Tesla. I'm going to drive down to LA because I know you want to check it out.
Tesla is a car that is, was it already an electric car?
Electric car, yeah.
A car which does not use gasoline or benzene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he drove down from San Jose to LA. I think he had to make like 3 stops to charge it or whatever. And he comes to my house and he says, he says, I got it, man. I go outside, wow, brand new Tesla, right? And he says, I know how you are. I know you want to take it for a test drive to see how fast it goes. I said, you're sure right. We get in the car. We go up on Wilshire Boulevard. It was on a Sunday. We go up on Wilshire. He told me that the car goes from like 0 to 100 in something like 5 seconds. Some crazy stuff. I said, oh, man, this is going to be great. I floor that thing. Boom, takes off like a rocket, right? Like the G-force in that thing is incredible. Didn't make it, got to something like 97, 96, couldn't really get 100, right?
100 miles per hour.
Exactly. On the third time, cop comes.
What did you expect?
Of course, right? Going like, and my
you were
buddy,
asking for it.
Yes, and my buddy says, oh man, I can't believe you got us, you're gonna get us in trouble, man. You got us ticket. I said, hey, I got this. Relax,
yeah.
Right? Cop comes to the window, knocks in the thing. He puts his head down. He says, are you insane or just stupid? And I'm like, what's the problem? He goes, do you know how fast you're driving this car on the 35-mile-an-hour street? You know how much the ticket is? I said, excuse me, officer. This is not a car. This is a Tesla. And the cop almost wanted to laugh. You could see it in his face. He just said, this guy must be insane.
Or arrest you.
Or arrest me for stupidity.
2 chances.
Right. Either he must be incredibly smart or incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
So my ex-roommate, my buddy's sitting there like this, and and then the cop looks at him and says, because after we give him the registration and all that, he says, but this is not him. Whose car is it? And my buddy says, it's his car. I mean, it's my car. And my wife says, and you let him drive? And my buddy says, well, if you knew him in high school, you knew he was going to have to drive this car. So the cop said, listen, I'm not going to give you a ticket. I'm going to let you go this time. And now there's 2 black guys sitting in the car in a Tesla. Nothing happened. But the funny thing was that he said, I'm going to wait over here and watch you drive off because I know you're going to do it again. And I said, yeah, you're right. You can write me the ticket because I am going to do it again as soon as you're not looking. He just couldn't believe what I was telling him. He gets back on he was a motorcycle cop, sits on his bike, and he's just sitting there waiting. We're in the car, and my buddy says, what are you going to do? And I said, watch this. We take off, I vroom, vroom, vroom. And I can see the cop, he's ready. He thinks like, okay, I'm going to get these guys. And I take off in the Tesla.
35 miles per hour.
No, like 20 miles an hour.
Yeah. Like really slow.
Really slow. I mean, he could have given us a ticket for actually going too slow. And he followed us all the way to Hollywood.
Yeah.
All the way to Hollywood. Right behind us, and my friend is like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. I said, yeah, it's cool, man. He's enjoying it. He ain't got nothing to do. We got nothing to do. He passes us up. He says, I'll catch you later next time. I got to go. So he drives off, and that was into that. My point was, you know, you hear these stories of people getting pulled over, right?
Yeah.
And things happen.
Treated badly.
Treated badly. And I had to say, that's never happened. I mean, me personally, that hasn't. I know it exists, but it doesn't happen. I think a lot of it, and I've had this discussion.
Well, I think you also have the self-confidence from being the son of Joe Zawinul and your mother, and being treated and brought up in that way that race is not a problem because your father was white and your mother was black, right?
Yes.
So you have a good chance and a good preparation in your education. I'm just guessing. Please
Well, this
correct me if I'm wrong.
This is like I was saying earlier, it's about the ignorance too, because the cop obviously doesn't know who my father is. That has nothing to do with it, nothing.
Yeah.
But what they instilled in me was maybe not so much the confidence, but it's just the awareness and to be, listen, man, you know, just treat people, and if you grow up in this kind of way, you know, you shouldn't have to walk into a place and feel like, oh my God, I'm the only person. Oh my God, I'm only going to this. It doesn't matter. I mean, my dad, it was the reverse. I mean, when he came to the States, and he was a white Austrian playing in jazz music, which was predominantly all black.
Yeah. African American.
Yeah, he never flinched about this.
Yeah, for him, he was natural, and he didn't feel he had the confidence because through his music, he was expressing himself not through the color of his skin.
Not through the color of his skin. And what was his dream? What was his dream? Was to come to the States, play black music, and marry a black woman. That was his.
Really?
Yeah, that was. I mean,
did he tell you that?
Of course, that was his. He was love. Lena Horne was his girl.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what he said.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He wanted to come to America to play black music and marry a black woman, preferably Lena Horne. She wasn't available. But my mom was.
She was a superstar. You have to say that for
yes,
some of
but you know, but he married my mom, and you know, my mom was a bunny. She was a Playboy bunny, actually. And in fact, she was the first bunny to work in the Playboy Club in Chicago. That's where she's from, and that's how they met. You know.
Tell us a little bit about your mother, because I mean we know about Joe Zawinul, especially here in Vienna. I have to say we are very proud of your dad, and I am especially very proud because I had a little episode or episodes with him early on in my career, interviewing him. But he is a legend. He's an icon of the jazz world and of the music world, because good music is, to me, is not only a genre.
Exactly.
It is good, you know,
Yes,
and it is good for classical ears and pop ears and what the fuck, excuse my French.
Yeah.
You know, your dad was up on the top with Miles Davis, with a few others of that, because also for composing. Not only was he a brilliant keyboard player and instrumentalist, which brought him to Miles Davis, etc., but also his compositions and also his not so jazzy compositions are world class. Sorry, I had to say that. Yeah,
You're right. You're
very proud.
You're absolutely
right. But how about? Tell us about your mother.
You know, that's interesting because I don't get asked that too often and stuff. But you know, my mom was. We used to joke in the family that, you know, dad was the president, right? But mom was the general. You know, so when she said something, that was it. And it was always funny because when he would say something, he would get mad. It would be almost funny. And the madder he got, the funnier it was.
We're talking about Joe Zawinul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he at home.
Famous, yeah.
Yes, and he would be mad. He'd get mad, sure, you know. But it would be funny when he got mad. I don't know why, just funny. And the madder he got, the funnier we would get, and you couldn't take him serious. And he would even then at the end start laughing. But when Mom got mad, she wouldn't yell or scream. She'd just say, "Didn't I tell you about that?"
In the low
Just
voice.
like that.
Yeah.
And you knew. That's it. There's no negotiation,
That's
no talking.
interesting.
And it was
Does
just
it
like,
maybe have to do that she was African American?
no, she just had
And the prideness of a lot of, I mean, I always adored black women and girls, and I had a few girlfriends, I have to say, who were African American or black.
well, once
They-
you
they
go
use-
black, you don't go back.
That's what some of the people say. I'm saying I'm going back and forth, right? I'm very flexible.
Well,
As you said before,
yes.
the color of the skin is not.
don't matter.
Is
It
not
all
the matter.
looks the
Yeah?
same.
But I always had the feeling that they were pride girls and pride women. You know, if you are not dominated by, oh my God, my grandfathers were slaves, kind of thing, which also can happen and is there. You are usually, as a black woman, very proud of what you do, and you know, hey, I'm standing with both feet. That's my experience. Might be different in different.
Well, no,
scenes.
I don't know. My mom, it was just funny because, you know, how they met and why they met and got together, there must have been something because they were almost identical in a lot of ways. You know, the only difference was just the color of their skin. That was the only really difference. But their whole thinking, their whole mentality was almost like dead exact on the same page. They hardly even had to discuss things. They would just, you know, those when you're with somebody,
Symbiose, we say.
Yeah, you don't have to
They're like
discuss.
one organism.
you know what the other's already thinking and
Right,
how's it.
right.
And that's how it was. And you know, with mom, she was very intelligent. She was funny. She was really funny too. But she was she just had this a certain calmness, and maybe you could say that was a certain, but that didn't come out in that way. It was that she was very relaxed. That's what I'm saying. When she got mad, she didn't get all freaked out and go, I'm so mad. She would be calm, and that was even scarier, actually. You know, because you knew when the calmer even she got, you said, oh shit, I really fucked up now. You know, because she wouldn't have to do not much, man. And you know, seeing her out and about and around, she was, I mean, all people adored her. You know, I mean, she was just one of those kind of ladies, man. And that's probably how my dad, I mean, she was very pretty. She was very beautiful, you know, and
Which helps.
yeah, sure. And I'm sure when my dad saw her coming from Austria and he's there in the Playboy Club and he sees this woman in the bunny suit, I mean, you know, probably he said, that's my Lena Horne. You know, I mean, I could see that. And she used to
The
tell me.
first name of your mother was?
Maxine.
Okay.
And, you know, all her friends would call her Max. And, you know, she used to tell me, like, and I would say, well, when you saw Dad, like, what was that like? She said, oh, he was really cute and charming. He had that funny little hat on, his little Austrian hat, his little square clothes. He looked very square and, you know, but he was very charming. And I said, Dad was charming? You know, you know, it's like, okay, because, I was joking.
But if he has a crush on a woman, he probably was charming.
Sure, but
because that was the way to get to her, right?
Yeah, you know, but he said, and she said that he talked funny. He had funny accent. She didn't know where it was. Because he had kind of this broken English.
What year was that approximately?
Like in 58, you know.
58. I was born in 58.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving us a little bit of insight. Just funny detail with my parents. My father was sort of also the president, yeah, and my mother was always the peacemaker. So I would always go to my mom to get something to convince Dad, because the first thing would say no, and you cannot have long hair and you cannot have this and that, and then she said, let's try and so on. Anyway, different families, different roles. Yeah. Now I have to first of all I have to explain why I'm having this shoes, which I haven't worn in quite a long time. In Los Angeles, your hometown, or you're born in?
I'm from New York.
You're from New York?
I'm from New York.
You lived in Italy, right?
Lived in Italy for about 20 years. And, well, actually, yeah, from New York. We moved to California in 74 or something like that. In the early '80s, well, with college time, I went on scholarship to San Jose State. Back then I was an athlete. I was on the national team in track and field.
Oh my God!
But we boycotted that year, so that was 1980. I was
So what-
California
I
State
didn't know
champion.
that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you were, we say Leichtathletik, yeah? You were a Leichtathletik star. You were at track and field. What
Yeah.
was your specialty?
Long jump.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so I was California long jump champion in 1980. We boycotted that year the Moscow Olympics.
Yes, I remember. So you didn't have a chance.
Didn't have a chance.
Ich wollte nur sagen, also er war ein Leichtathletikstar. I haven't read or heard this, at least in Austria and Germany. Er war ein Leichtathletikstar und zwar im Weitsprung und wäre in Frage gekommen, bei der Olympiade 1980 teilzunehmen. Aber die Amerika hat die Olympiade in Moskau, wie manche Sportinteressierte wissen, boykottiert. Sorry.
No, actually, that was a real drag because I had my whole thing mapped out. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get my medal. I'm gonna be that. You know,
Would you have had a chance to get a medal?
I would have had a chance that year for sure. You know, I remember being at the Olympic trials, which was in Mount Sac.
Yeah.
That year, and it was already known that we weren't going, and it was just.
Which place did you do? How did you finish?
You know what? To be honest, I don't even really remember.
Okay.
Because it was such a everybody was like kind of.
It doesn't make any sense because we're not going.
Yeah, it was like, and I remember Larry Myrick's, who was like one of the top jumpers. He was on the previous team a few years before, and I was there with my measuring thing, and he was like, he knew. He said, okay, he was this young guy. Was like, how old was I? Like 19 or something like that. He says, hey, young buck. Well, what are you even taking care of that? We're not even going anywhere. What are you wasting everybody's time doing that? And I'm looking up at him like, and it's like, oh shit, that's Larry Myrick's and shit, right? And I just said, oh, and I felt kind of
Bob Beeman of the time. So
Bob Beeman, yeah, he was one of the guys and stuff, and it was kind of a drag. And then '92 moved to Italy.
Yeah.
Moved there. I was in Milan.
Where?
Milan. First, I was in Rome first.
Yeah, Rome and Milan. Yeah.
And then I went to, and you know what? Some people say, man, why there?
So you do speak Italian?
No, vero. Parlo italiano bellissimo.
Oh my God! Because I was bullshitting at the beginning.
Ma vai, lo so.
Ecco. No, grazie mille.
Fa niente. Allora, no, and I had, it's funny because I adapted to the Italian thing so quick.
Yeah.
You know, much more than...
It's a great lifestyle, huh?
Yeah, and I loved it there, actually. I really fit in. I felt...
Food, the red wine,
yeah,
the women,
well,
the men, the people.
It was for sure the women, for sure. And the food was okay, you know, not bad, you know.
But Austria is also not bad with food. Yeah.
Austria is for sure is also...
It's in the top 3.
But I was you know, was contemplating because I knew I was going to move to Europe. Because at that time I said, you know what?
But why Italy?
That was actually by chance. Didn't really have a plan. I knew when I was, you know, this is funny, quick story. So I knew I was going to move to Europe. This was in the early 90s, right? And then one day I'm at the gym working out. And next to me over there was these 2 girls working out. And they were talking, right? And I wasn't really paying attention. But the one girl said, so in Greece, there's France. And I said, huh? France is in Greece? You know? And she went on and on. And then afterwards, I said, excuse me, did I hear you right? Did you say France is in Greece? And she said, yeah. So where's Paris? And she said, well, you know, you shouldn't even be in people's business and da-da-da-da.
Boss, yeah, you shouldn't play the boss here.
And I said, you know what? I'm done here. I've had enough of LA, man. You know, the thing when they say La La Land and Bubbleheads, I've had enough. At that time, I had this agent who was my music agent. I said, look, man, I'm packing. I'm going to go to Europe. He goes, well, where? And he says, Tony, you know, it's if you leave here, we're just now getting things going. You're starting to get some gigs, you know, doing music production.
Yeah.
If you leave, then you know how LA is. It's if you're gone for 1 month, it's like, you know. I said, I got to go, man. I can't take it here anymore, you know. So
you were fed up with the superficial way of the LA people, the Valley girls.
And that was always like that because even in high school, man, I never really gelled with American women. Not really. You know, every time we would also have foreign students come from, you know, we'd have foreign students visit, right? And I remember the principal would say, Oh yeah, we have a guy. So, get Tony. Tony's the international guy. He'll take guys. Some people from China would come, and they would hardly speak English, and they talk China. Didn't know nothing what they were talking about, right? But I would take them. But I was that guy. I was that guy in high school. Take the foreign students around, right? But I never always felt like didn't fit in on the American side too much. Guys, yes, it was different. It was because of sports and all that and music. But with women, I just always felt a little bit out of place for some reason. I was always more comfortable around European women. So I knew. I said, eventually I'm going to move to Europe. Boom. Now here I go. I'm traveling around. I thought actually at that time I thought I was going to either end up in Paris or in London. London.
Not Vienna.
No, Vienna. I came here so many times. I love Vienna, but Vienna was kind of like too close to home. It was like I wanted to be able to go there without having to feel the pressures of things, right?
Independent.
Yeah, just like this is my place of like cool kind of like calmness and familiarity and all that kind of stuff. So when and I say, yeah, but London, man, everybody speaks English there. What's the difference, really? Might as well stay in the States. Paris is cool.
I always said in London, I like London apart from the people, the food, and the weather.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said about Paris. I
lived in London for 3 years.
Okay,
yeah,
I mean,
the Queen time.
Yeah, but I mean, I love Paris.
Yeah.
But I said, but the Parisians, if Paris would be cool if it didn't have the Parisians there, then it would be cool. It would be a totally
Paris without the people who live there.
Yeah, right. Like if it was because my favorite city in all of France is Marseille, right? That's my favorite, and Marseille and Toulouse. That's my favorite city. Anyway, was there and.
And then you went to California's.
No. I was doing the backpack trip thing. I had my keyboard. The only thing I had was a backpack and the keyboard.
You were a musician at the time.
Yeah. I come from
now
the
you're a filmmaker more.
But I'm kind of both. I still do both. Both my jobs are on both. But so I was taking the train from I was in Stockholm, and I called home to check in, and my dad said, "Hey, why don't you? Where are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm in Stockholm." He said, "Why don't you go to Italy? Go to Rome because we have a friend of mine from Sony Music lives there, and you could talk to him. Maybe he can help you and blah blah blah." So I take the train from Stockholm to Rome. Long train.
Yeah.
Right? Met some interesting people on the train, have fun and all that kind of stuff. And then I got in. I remember coming into the train station to Termini, to the train station, and at that moment coming in, I said, "I'm home." I don't know what it was. It was something about coming
There is
in.
Sometimes you get into a place.
You get into this feeling, right? And that's what I just didn't know. It was chaotic. It was chaos. It was real Italian. It was like, oh shit, this is crazy, man.
Yeah.
And had I never drank coffee until I never drank coffee or ate cheese until I got to Italy. And on that first day, by the train station, I went to a little coffee shop. And the guy says, "You're American, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." And he asked me, "Oh, do you know so-and-so?" Because he said, "Where are you from?" I said, from California, New York. He goes, New York. "Do you know so-and-so?" I said, "Listen, man, there's 10 million people live there." But, no, I don't know him. He said, he said, "Oh, you're cool." He gave me, free coffee.
Yeah.
Because I'm American. I had something like 10 espressos, man.
Oh, my God.
I was so...
Your heart was going to...
I was so wired. I said, "Oh, man, this fucking place is cool. I got to call my friends." And at that time, there was still no cell phones, no internet. So you had to put the coins in the machine.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, man, I got to call my buddies back in L.A., man, and let them know what's going on here." Because also in the bar, I couldn't believe. All the Italian women that were in the bar, I couldn't believe it.
How many beautiful women
How many
there.
beautiful. Because usually you see one or two. But I said, they're in packs here. And the guy told me, he said, "Oh..." Because he looked at me, he said, "Italia,
Ragazzi.
bella donna.
Bella donna.
Bella donna, veramente." And I said, "I don't know what you said, but it sounds like something like beautiful women to me. And if that's what you said, for sure."
Yeah.
He said, "Do you want the card America? You want the card America?" I said, "Yeah, I want it." And he gave me the card. And I called. I said, "Man, you won't believe what I'm just hearing this coffee. Tony, slow down. Are you on coke or something?" I said, "No, man, I just had 10 cups of espresso." I said, "You had espresso?"
It's the same thing as cocaine.
Listen, you had espresso? I said, "Yeah, man." I'm going all over the place, man.
Yeah.
Like, "Dude, calm down.
Yeah,
So I'm telling the story. And it was great. And then I'm just there. and trying to get things going. But everybody was like, it was coming from LA to do that in Rome. It was like so. Everybody, tranquilo, no, domani, Tony, faccio domani, faccio un appuntamento domani. Tomorrow we'll make the appointment. I said, well, why make the appointment tomorrow when we're right here, right now? Right? I couldn't get to that. You're too troppo presto, you're too fat. You need to go to Milan. And that's when I ended up in Milan.
Milan, okay. But now you live in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Great story. There is a reason why this big Z is in front of here on our table. Well, first of all, the shoes I have on because these are the shoes when I went the first time to collect the Grammy.
First time?
Yeah, in Los Angeles for a Miles Davis and Quincy Jones documentary.
That was that at the Kodak Theater?
Huh?
Where was that at? The Kodak Theater?
No, it was no. That's where the Oscars are.
Oh yeah.
The Grammys were at the Staples.
At the Staples Center.
Yeah, at the Staples where
the
basketball team.
The Lakers played.
The Lakers played, and I saw those shoes, and they were fucking expensive for a long time. And I said, no, Rudy, it's too much for shoes. I'm not really a shoe guy. I usually had sports shoes and what have you, but then I learned from women that that's one thing that women also look
Yeah,
at.
check out the shoes.
Yeah. First of all, your hands, but also, of course, but also what kind of shoes is this guy? Because it tells a lot. Anyway, so I said, okay, for the Grammys, the shoes must be on, and then I almost missed it because I was driving with a navigation system, and it was sending me in the wrong direction. Los Angeles driving. I never drive again there. I thought, I'll drive. I have a rented car and blah, blah, blah. So that's that. But the set is much more important than my shoes. It's the awards that you give away for quite a few years. And tell us about this award.
Oh, yeah. So
it supports young people who are creative and do something special.
Yes.
Also es ist ein Preis für junge Leute. The prize is usually for Austrians to go to Los Angeles and for Americans to come to Vienna.
Exactly.
Or something like that. And please tell us.
Yes. So this through the Joe Zawinul Foundation that I founded and started.
You are the president or
the creative director and the founder. Yeah.
But also of the trust of your dad, right? You're taking
the executor. Yeah,
executive.
Yeah, executor of the Zawinul estate. This came out of something that I said, okay, one thing to be the executor and to be the one responsible for all that stuff, but I said there's got to be another way I could do something to honor my parents, both parents, and I said, okay, all right, I'll create a foundation. Didn't know nothing about no foundation. So had to, talk to a few people. I have a few friends that work at Autism Speaks, which is a huge organization, foundation. And they said, oh, yeah, Tony,
contributed.
You have to do this, you do that. I said, okay, and did all that. And then out came the thinking to do the foundation. But then what happened, the interesting thing was then my the partner here I have here from the Joe Zawinul Musikschule, which is in Gumbolskirchen.
Die Joe Zawinul Musikschule in Gumbolskirchen.
Which I proudly titled and have the rights of, I call GPK.
Yeah.
Okay. I even have a T-shirt, GPK, the Joe Zawinul School of Music.
Which teaches or which?
He's the chef of the school. Okay,
yeah.
the director of the school.
But what does the school do?
So it's just it has also Hauptschule there too, but they do the music lessons and they have all this kind of stuff. So a few years ago, before I did this, I walk into the school there to school, and Andy Tiebener, and I asked Andy. We walk in and I said, Andy, this is the Joe Zawinul Musikschule, and he says, yeah, and I said, oh, that's cool, but how would I know that actually? And he said, ich weiß es nicht. I said, okay. We're going to put some stuff here and we make a display.
Of Joe Zawinul.
Yes.
Some memorabilia or
exactly
things that remind people of...
Yeah, so when they walk in, they see the hall and they say, oh, okay. And then out of this, I said, okay, now we have this. What could I do to support this? Okay, we'll create the foundation. Okay, so I started the foundation. Okay, now we do the foundation, but what do we do in the foundation? It was a step-by-step process.
And then you created the award.
Then we created the awards. And we thought at the time, it would be cool to kind of somewhat, slightly as best we can, kind of emulate a little bit of the path of my dad. Mm-hmm. So especially for the Austrian students. So the Austrian student, if they win the award, they get to come to Los Angeles, like my dad did, right? He actually to New York,
Yeah.
but still come to America,
From Austria to USA.
right? And through their music,
To broaden the horizon.
to broaden the horizon, to network, to experience outside of their little bubble, outside of their comfort zone, as I call it, right?
Wir in Österreich sagen, über den Tellerrand schauen. Ja?
Exactly. And we did the same thing for the American student, where they would have the chance to experience the great stuff that Austria has to offer, right? And through that, we thought maybe they would be able to mingle also, right? And
What kind of young talents you're supporting? Is it all different?
it's with the music exchange, and it's because it's grown, but the music exchange program in particular, it's kids from I think it can go. You can apply from 12 years old is the youngest to the oldest to 20. So 12 to 20, any kids, any style. We've had heavy metal, classical, rock, pop, dancers, pantomimes. We've had crazy people in the past, which is all cool, right? But it's not, I mean, I know some people say, oh, but I thought it was jazz. So it has nothing to do with that. It's just music. Like my dad say, music is music. So to apply for this, they just apply. They send a video, and we judge them just on the video of the performance. There's categories, and the person with the most points wins.
I would suggest, because you have great trailers and everything for also to how apply, but what this is, that we look at a very quick, at a short description of both the foundation and the SED Award in one of your beautiful trailers, okay?
Okay.
Good. Jeder kann mitmachen, und wir blenden jetzt ein, an welche E-Mail-Adresse oder Website man sich...
Yeah, they can go to the website, to the JoeZawinulFoundation.com, and they can, and all the information how
Great
to
award,
apply.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like this is for this year's winner, who is 2021 award winner, first place, Performing Arts, Joe Zawinul Music Exchange Program, presented to Laura Hailey.
Yes.
Yeah? Congratulations. Ich glaube, sie hat es noch nicht. I think she doesn't have the award.
No, we just got it. We
just got it. So hier im Fernsehen vorab. Ja. Liebe Laura, aber bald auch physisch. Ich kann nur sagen, es fühlt sich super an. It feels great.
Yeah.
No, congratulations to Laura, but congratulations for inventing this.
Yeah, and we're really happy with this. And also in particular this year, we just launched which I've been always wanting to do as a filmmaker, to have a part called the creative video, right? And we
that's this one.
That's yes.
Okay, that's this one. Yeah.
And the
Wiedersehen.
Yes.
Won the winner of the 2021 Creative Video Award. Great.
Yes.
Nice.
So because music and film has always been a big part of my life, and I wanted to do both, right? But the whole Zed Awards it's something different. It's not like the typical, let's say, award, competition thing. It's not even really about the competition so much. It's also a personal growth. That's why we really like the programs is always tailor-made to that individual, whoever wins, because everybody's different. you know.
Etwas, was er mir auch erzählt hat, ist, es geht vor allem auch darum, nicht immer nur Musikschüler die dann aus guten Familien kommen und daher schon in einer tollen Musikschule sind, zu fördern. It's also about people who don't have a lot of privileges.
Exactly. Yes.
People like from next door who are a great talent, and the people and the parents maybe doesn't have the money to afford a expensive music school, and that's also people that you want to support. And
That's exactly the people we want to support, you know, and that's why we thought of having them that they could just do a video on themselves.
You want some more water?
Yes, please. They can do a video on themselves. They don't have to have no big band thing behind them. They don't have to have no great audiovisual equipment. It's like
you can do it with your smartphone.
Smartphone and whatever instrument you play, because the true talent will come across no matter what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why and then there's 5 categories you get judged on, right? And you know, through this has come what I didn't expect and never really planned on, actually, is something for me very special. A lot of these kids from the beginning, when I started this, I had no idea really what I was doing and what I was getting myself into. Not really. But what happened is, from the first time up till now, is I've gotten very kind of close with a lot of the kids. And I'm in touch with them. They send me their thing. Hey, Tony, we're just about to do this. Can you take a listen? What do you think? And on some of the kids who I feel like they're really talented, they have something, I've introduced them to my lawyer, who's taking care of their first. We have a couple. We have one in particular, one artist, Lucas Real, who came through the foundation. He's known now as Lou Asriel. You know, very proud of him because, you know, hooked him up with my attorney so he can facilitate, make sure they get the right deal at the right time. Because that's whole part of the experience, where they can have the opportunity that once they
an introduction into the
business music
as
world,
well.
And they don't. It's not a shitty experience.
Yeah.
Right. Because we both know that the entertainment world is not your friend.
No.
You know.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, and that's why it's called music business, show business.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yeah.
And you know, what I do is try to facilitate, to help them on their journey, on their path, you know, and to watch them grow up from 13 years old. And some of them now are like 24, 25 years old. Yeah, it makes me feel older for sure, because I feel like, when am I going to grow up? But
that's a good question.
Yeah, because
hopefully never.
Yeah, you know, because I'm the real Peter Pan, I feel like sometimes, you know, but the thing really is how much I've been inspired actually by them too, you know, and how much they keep me.
What comes back?
Yeah, and how much they keep me having to stay on my toes and
Sure.
stay, you know, relevant and stay. Oh, okay, because as they're growing up and they include me in their growth and in their development, which I'm very honored actually and very humbled by it. I'm, you know, and I always say, hey, I'm not here to try to tell you anything. It's your thing. I can only open the door. I can show you some. Even when they come, the Austrian kid, when they win and they come, they would stay at my house, and I would do like sessions with them, you know, one-on-one sessions, and we'd be in my studio, and we'd do a listening thing, and I would take them through like from the 60s, 70s, 80s of different type of music, all kinds of stuff, and some of them, they were like, wow, I never even heard of this and stuff, you know, and like, you know, and because I thought it would be important that they have a background and understanding. You know, then we do some recording stuff, but it was always more about, hey, I don't care if you're doing polka music, if you're doing whatever. Nobody does the music you want to do better than you, if it's yours. So just do it. You know, that's what we encourage with the foundation.
Na, ich muss nur sagen, kurz auf Deutsch, das ist eine ganz großartige Geschichte. Wenn Sie jemanden kennen, ein junges Talent, männlich, weiblich, ganz egal, welches Genre, Pop, Rock, Heavy Metal oder gesagt tanzen, was immer, einsenden, mitmachen, ich finde das eine tolle Sache.
Super.
Good. Before we talk about your brother, which of course we have to do, wir müssen auch über Erich Zawinul sprechen, der leider heuer 53-Jähriger an Corona verstorben ist. Bevor wir dazu kommen, möchte ich noch kurz über meine Experience mit deinem Vater, mit Joe Zawinul sprechen. I have to talk about my experience with your father, because when I was young and had long hair, I still have some, in 1970s, I did a program called Ohne Maulkorb, like this, but it was with little music films. And I interviewed Joe Zawinul. Ich habe Joe Zawinul interviewt in Wien, in Vienna, in the Konzerthaus. And in this interview, he had his bald head and I had my long hair. That was not the issue. But he said a sentence that I remembered until today. Er hat gesagt auf Deutsch, warst, also because he said warst, ja, der Muhammad Ali hat mit 13 gewusst, dass Weltmeister wird. Ich hab das auch gewusst, sagte Joe Zawinul. Muhammad Ali knew when he was 13 that he's going to be world champion, and Joe Zawinul, knew this also. And that was the line which everybody remembered in this little film. Now, what your father didn't know is that I always was trying to do. It was just an interview, and I could get some footage from the Montreal Jazz Festival. But shortly later, Wayne Shorter with Miroslav Vituš and Ayrton Moreira were playing also in the concertos, and they said, great, these are musicians who used to be in your father's band. So I interviewed them, and they were telling a lot of good things, but they also had one or two critical things to say.
I interviewed Miroslav, I know.
Dude, you know them.
Yeah.
Du kennst sie, you know them. So then, a few years later, Joe Zawinul back comes into the Konzerthaus. I am again backstage, but maybe looking a little bit different. And he talks to the promoter. Sagt zu dem Veranstalter, wo ist das Dollezahl, Arschloch? Where is this Dollezahl, asshole? Die meine Ex-Musiker interviewt hat. And I was standing in the very room, And I said, well, it might be good not to introduce me. And I went out. But he was furious. I'm not even sure whether he saw it. But some people told him, he was using your interview and da. But so sorry, but I had to.
No, of course.
Is that something that sounds like your dad?
Of course. I mean, it's funny because I've interviewed him.
You're also doing a movie about him. More than one movie.
You're working on a couple.
You're doing one which is called The American Dream.
Yeah. It's just on him.
Which I may say, or is it a secret?
Yeah.
It's a documentary, and then you're doing one on the Weather Report, the famous group, and
that's when I went to Prague to interview Miroslav.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was really funny because me and my production partner Victor, we drove out there. It was snowing actually when we left here in Vienna. It was snowing, and we said, okay, let's leave in the morning because it was hard to catch him, man. I mean, a lot of times because there's some, like every band, right? I mean, he was one of the three in the beginning.
Yeah,
it was him and Wayne and my dad, and and then as time went on, okay, then they got rid of Miroslav, and I think Miroslav's problem was he always felt a little bit slighted because a lot of the attention with Weather Report went on to Jaco. And
Jaco Pastorius, the bass player.
And I feel like Miroslav always felt a little slighted by this. And when we get into Prague, and as soon as we walk in, he says, and I hadn't seen Miroslav in a while. And I have to tell a funny story about with Miroslav when I was a little kid, when he first came into the band. Yeah. But here it was, years, many decades almost probably later. And he says, wow, hey, Tony, really good to see you, man. I said, yeah, likewise, Miroslav. And he says, do you mind if when we talk, I have some things to really get off my chest about your dad and stuff. And I said, listen, let me just make this clear. This is a film about Weather Report. I'm totally fine with whatever you want to say. Because whatever you're going to say, I'm going to check out anyway. Half the stuff I might already know, but I'm going to check it out. And if it fits the film, I'm not here to try to whitewash anything.
You can say what you want.
Say what you want.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, but it's a little difficult because, you being the son and you're doing it. I said, yeah, but just say what you want. It's fine. I'm totally fine with it. And he gets and he does his thing and he says a couple of things, but he's talking to me like I'm in the room right? He goes, yeah, Tony, were you there? I said, okay, Miroslav, cut. When we do the interview, though, they don't have to bring me in. Just
You don't have to bring me in.
Yeah, you know,
Well,
just
those might be a nice, charming element.
well, it maybe, but it was getting a little too much. You know, I mean, I
You
let him do it for a
wanted to
while.
stay, sort of
Focused.
out of, yeah.
Yeah, I want to stay out of it, but stay focused. I mean, sometimes I could see if it's part of the thing, but when you're just kind of overdoing it now.
Yeah, yeah.
And he went on for a while. He was really, and I said, and I had to cut him again. It was funny. I said, Miroslav, you know what? I understand that there's some things you want to get off your chest, and that's fine. But let's also talk about the things you did do in Weather Report.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? And he said,
The good things that happened
yeah,
in the report.
right? Because don't you want to be remembered also about that? We only talk about negative shit here, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then he
Oh,
stopped.
good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
and he was like, fucking Zavinuls. See, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, right? But it was funny because I had to say this one quick little story. When I was about 10,
Quick stories. You are the only person who talks more than me, which is great. This is a show that, yeah?
Okay.
But it's just when you say just quick, then okay, darlings, it's gonna take another hour. Yeah, no.
007. Hey, you had the hint. You know how I was rolling when we met the first time, right?
No.
Hey,
Please tell the story. I'm
just real quick. So when I was about 10, growing up in New York, Miroslav comes to the house.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the beginning days.
Miroslav Vitush, and
Yes.
he was one of the founding members of Weather Report.
He comes to the house, and I'm about like 10 years old, and my dad wasn't home, so my mom set him up in the living room with some wine and stuff like that. And I come in, and he's like, "Hey, Tony, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good, man." And he goes, "Hey, you want some wine?" I said, "What is it? I've never really drank that, but yeah, okay."
Was your mother in the room?
No, she was. So he gave me a little wine, and he said, "Yeah, it's like grape juice or something, right?" And I drank wine and the other. And then after a few
10 years old?
10.
Oh my
And
God.
then after a few slugs, right?
Yeah.
My mom sends me to the store, to the butcher shop, to get some meat because she was going to prepare dinner when my dad got home, and they were going to have dinner. And so I'm walking to the store, and as soon as I walk into the store, it hit me.
Oh wow.
Woo, woo, woo. I was like, wow.
So you had your first Rausch.
Yeah, I was like, wow, what
Der
is
erste
that?
Rausch mit 10.
Yeah, I was like,
Not
wow,
bad.
what is that? So the guy gave, because my mom, in those days, those are the days when the people would call the butcher shop and, "Hey, I'm sending my kid to pick up. Could you have this?" And I just would go, I'd pick it up, and I'm walking back to the house. As soon as my mom opened the door, all red, and she goes, "What happened?" And I was like, I had wine with Miroslav, right? And she just like kind of lost it and stuff. And to this day, can't drink wine because of it.
Oh really?
Even in Italy, all the years,
Oh my
20
God.
years.
You know, I stopped drinking alcohol, but I mean, I used to drink a lot of red wine. I have now something like close to 600 days. No, I
Good for you.
decided to make a complete stop. You were part of a film that I did for Austrian television, ORF, which is called Rudi Dolezal, Ich bin positiv. Rudi Dolezal, I am positive. You were so kind to be part of that, an interview. First of all, because I wanted your opinion in, but also because, unfortunately, it's a different film about Corona. It's more ein filmisches Essay. It's more about mankind and what we learn, but it has some real experiences in it, and one of it is that, unfortunately, your brother, Erich Zawinul war ein wichtiger DJ, Konzertpromoter, Musiker, ein Cook, ja.
Great cook.
Great cook. Der starb leider 2021, nachdem er mit 53 Jahren im Jänner hat er es bekommen und im Februar war er leider Gottes verstorben. Please tell us, how did this change your life? Sorry for
No. It's cool and stuff. I mean, it's you know, when my parents passed away, because they, you know, my dad in 2007, and the reason I'm going is because Eric's death triggered a lot of the stuff. But 2007, my parents passed away. My mom first in July 26th of 2007. And then my dad, September 11th, 2007. So basically 6-7 weeks difference. you know. We knew my mom wasn't going to make it. That was clear. With my dad though, this was a shock. And but being the oldest, you know, and the responsibilities having to deal with, for me I was caught up in the responsibility. And my life changed like overnight because I was living in Italy, doing my own stuff, working as a filmmaker and doing production music, had nice life, you know, and then that all had to stop, like boom. And a lot of things suffered because of that. So was coming back and forth to LA to take care of stuff. I mean, still after my mom passed away and my dad was still here and trying to figure out, okay, what we're gonna do with Pop, you know, how I'm gonna handle that. And he was thinking about what he wanted to do, but we knew he had this little slight condition thing that he was gonna have to stay kind of calm too, right? It wasn't as serious as we thought. And when it became serious, then it was like, I mean, he went on the road, you know, up to the last minute. And in one way, I'm really glad that happened because, I mean, by the time when my mom passed away, I was at the hospital. He was on the road. He was there with the band and my brother.
Eric.
And I was there in her final moments, holding her, took her last breath. I called my dad right after that, and I could hear in his voice, it was just really silent and calm. And then he said he had to go. I said, okay. And we talked back and forth. I took care of all the aftermath, the funeral stuff, which she didn't really want. She wanted to have a easy out exit thing, right? Took care of all that, and then all the other stuff having to deal with. And then when his day came, that was, you know, Eric called me, and we knew after the tour, because Eric called me then when the tour ended, hey, Dad has to go into the hospital. I said, okay. We just finished basically doing the cremation of my mom, basically. And I said, okay, I'm going to be coming out in next week. And this was the funny thing, because when I said I'm going to be coming out next week, it's the same thing would happen with Eric. So Eric called me and said, Dad is gone.
He's gone.
Yeah. And I was like...
So there was no next week?
There was no next week. And I was just like, okay. And, yeah. And then, you know, then you see the shit on the news.
Your dad died of?
Well, he had a rare skin cancer.
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah, and then right after, and then I called only 2 or 3 people, very, very close. Wayne, Herbie, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock. And I can't remember who was the third actually, but only 3 people I called, and that was it.
Korea?
No, it wasn't Chick. It will come to me. Oh, Brian, the sound engineer. He was and Jim Swanson. 4 people. They were very close to my parents. I called them so they could hear from me first. Everybody, hey, Tony, you're right. We'll come over. I said, no, don't want nobody over at the house. And I just kind of got into this mode, man, of like, okay, I just felt like all this like burden of responsibility, and I just said, that's it. I just took over everything. And then, then the next day when you see the stuff on the news, CNN and the thing, hey, Joe Zawinul died, and the people calling you in the paper, and you hear it on the radio, it's like, whoa. And I just had to shut off, man. It was like, because I wasn't really prepared for that. So that put me into a thing for a long time. Fast forward now to Eric's thing. 2021. Eric and I were very close, and 5 years difference in age, borderline of, because if you get to 8, 9 years, then it's a different, you're this whole different thing. 5 years, it's borderline, but we were
meaning that you're close enough to be in one generation, and similar interests and stuff.
Similar interests and things, and we shared a lot of the same friends, and and we, strangely enough, when this whole pandemic, when the Corona thing started, I was here on March 10th. I think I arrived of 2020 in Vienna, because I was about to start on a production that we're shooting, that I'm still shooting. Well, fast forward now, of one of my dad's things, and had all these things ready to go, and then 2 days later, shut down. Things closed. Boom. Trump makes the announcement. Hey, no travel ban. Everything shut down, closed, lockdown. And Eric was really the only person I saw, right? And he was staying. I would stay at this apartment house over in the 5th off of Stumpergasse in Gummendorfstrasse.
6th District.
And his apartment was there, and I stayed around the corner. And we would just go back and forth and hang out, and we would talk and stuff like that. And he was very, at that time he was, with the gloves and mask and disinfected, and he was really like, okay,
Concerned.
And disciplined. In the back of my mind, I wasn't really thinking about too much of it, because I was trying to still figure out what the hell is all this going on with the Corona. I'm not sure if I was even taking it that serious in the beginning.
So Eric was taking it more serious than you,
for sure.
Probably. Okay.
Yeah, for sure he was. And I was stuck here, kind of. I wasn't worried about it in the beginning too much, because I was going to be here 3 weeks anyway, 3.5 weeks. When the shutdown happened and the travel ban, they were like, hey, well, how are you going to get out of here? And I was thinking, like, well, no big deal, Plus, I saw all the things on the video on CNN, all the crowds of people at the airport. I said, well, if I don't have Corona right now, for sure I'm going to get it there. Being stuck in the thing, like with 1,000 people from all this. So I said, I don't need that. I'll wait till all that goes. I'll go whenever they say I can go. I'm in here in Vienna. I'm in lockdown.
Just to explain, America had a lockdown, so people couldn't go in, and before that lockdown was in place, a lot of Americans came from all over the world and were packed on the airports like Chicago, Los Angeles, New York,
everywhere.
like no distance, no masks, no nothing.
No nothing.
Thousands of people.
Thousands of people, man.
Yeah. Which was probably a super spreader event.
And I said, for sure, I'm not going to do that. So I said, I'm cool where I am, right? Because I'm totally cool. So finally, So finally, I'm able to leave. It was sometime in April, and the morning I left, we had the mask on. I even have that photo we took together, and which was I didn't think, but that was actually our last photo together. I leave. He comes with me to the airport. Stay safe, all this stuff. He says, hey, man, do the video vlog of your travel to get home, because to get home, it took me almost 3 days to get home. Because they canceled flights. I had to stay overnight at the airport. It was insane. That's a whole another show.
Another program.
Another program. Yeah. Okay. And then after that, we just stayed. We did the Zoom thing, or we were on WhatsApp talking all the time and stuff. And funny enough, when the Black Lives Matter thing hit, right? I was contemplating, should I go out there to take my camera and go out and shoot some footage and all that?
As a filmmaker, you felt responsibility to document.
Yes, but at the same time, I was also concerned. I don't know if I want to do
Corona
high times, right? I said, okay, screw it. I'll put mask on. I'll just I'll try to stay as far away as I can from people.
So you were out there filming?
I was out there filming. Now, I'm standing I text Eric, hey, I'm about to hit the streets, man, to go shoot footage. I'll send you some clips. I go out there. I'm on on Santa Monica Boulevard in La Brea, right on the corner. And they had a line, double row of policemen with the guns out. And I have with my camera, and I'm just walking. I mean, I'm like closer from the table to you. I'm that close with my camera. Phone rings, right?
Eric.
And I pick it up. I'm looking. I have the camera like this on the police guy. And I pick up the phone. I see it's Eric. I go, and I hit the speaker by accident. And he goes, Black Lives Matter, bitch! And the policeman is like, look, because you can hear it. Everybody can hear it.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, oh shit. I go, Eric, I gotta call you back, man. I'm like right here in the shit, man. Right? Okay, where are you? I said, I'm right here. The policeman right in front of me with guns and shit. I gotta call you back. He goes, oh man, okay, call me back. So I get back across the street. I take a little snapshot of it and I send it to him. He goes, oh snap, that's crazy, man. Well, be careful. Da 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 da.
Be careful because of Corona.
Be careful because of Corona. Be careful, don't get shot. Don't. I don't want to see you on CNN. You know, da 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 da. All that stuff, right? So we were joking, and that was like that the whole summer. You know, we were talking, Zoom talk, and then just before the end of the year, we were talking. Okay, what the plans are for the? Because he was like, hey, what about the Zed Award we're going to do? I said, no, I think we're going to do a virtual show for 2021. Then we have the other production, and you know he was really happy about everything just to be part of the stuff. And his birthday is January 1st was his birthday. He's a New Year's baby, and it was always tradition like so. New Year's Eve Vienna time, which would be about 3 in the afternoon in LA time, I'd call Eric. Hey, happy birthday! Da da da. What are you doing? And you know Usually he would be out, you know, drunk, drinking, having a good time, and then he would call me when it was 9 o'clock Austria time, which would be midnight LA time. Mm-hmm. Happy New Year's, da 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 da. And we did this for as long as I can remember, and then even the next days after that we were talking, same thing, talking, and then on January 12th, I remember these days very well. So January 12th, when we talked and talking about really getting focused on what's going to come up the next year, he was not as, say, disciplined, let's say, about the Corona thing, right? And I would say, Eric, got to be careful, man. Got to this and this and this. This is no joke. You know, really, really take care, man. And one day he says, yeah, I am. I'm not seeing anybody. Literally, that's what he said. I'm not seeing anybody. And then I see in the background people walking and the thing. I said, dude, I see the people behind. You're on video. Hello, right? And he goes, oh, yeah, oh, that's just so-and-so. And I said, Eric, you just told me you're not seeing nobody. Please be careful, right? Oh, but we're doing the home testing. Everything's fine. So another week goes by, we talk about it. And then I didn't hear from him a couple of days. Mm. Not unusual. Okay. Then he calls me on the 22nd, says, hey, I'm in the hospital. And I said, how come? And he says, I got corona. I said, shit, what? Yeah, I got coronavirus, but I'm okay. I'm in Franz Josef. I think I'm in good hands, da da da. I said, is the doctor there? And he says, yeah, he's right here. I said, let me talk to him. Doctor goes, hi, hello, yes, du bist der Bruder. I say, yeah. Hello, yeah. So I said, so what's the situation? How is he? And he says, oh, well, he's a strong boy. You know, he has some trouble breathing, but I think he's going to be okay. I said, okay, please keep me informed as much as you can. Okay, talk to Eric. But I could hear he was fatigued when he was talking. He was coughing a lot. Mm-hmm. That was on the 22nd of January. Talked to him. That was on a Thursday. Talked to him that Friday, Saturday, and Saturday. Sunday, they called me. They said, look, we're going to have to intubate him.
Wow.
Then I got kind of nervous. I said, okay. Okay. Got all the information about that. They kept him like that for a week. They woke him up out of that. Our good friend.
Induced coma.
Induced coma, they had put him. They woke him up after the induced coma. We had a good friend, mutual friend that was that really I have to thank a lot was Axel, because Axel was there, was able to put the phone next to Eric, and I was able to talk to him. I said, hey, Eric, because he couldn't really talk. He was still kind of weak. I said, Eric, don't worry. I'm on the way. I'm making arrangements to come out right now. And this is the thing I said about, you know, with my dad.
The similarity.
I
come next week.
I'm coming in a few days.
Yeah.
I'm just getting everything together. This was already like on the 8th. No, a little bit before that, the week before that. So like maybe the 1st or something like that.
February.
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah. And I'm making the arrangements, and yeah, then around on the 8th, they called me again. Yes, everything seems to be okay. Relief. Okay, I was already talking with the therapist about his physical therapy because that's what I was really concerned about. How he was going to maintain to be still with the corona, not be around people. Because if you knew my brother, he was he was really a character. You know, I loved him dearly, but he needed to be around people. He lived off of this, and this is what kind of worried me. You know, me, I could stay in the studio, don't see nobody for 2 weeks, man, I'm fine. You know, but he's not like that. We used to call him in the family. He was the social director. That was his nickname. He needed to have this around, right? And it was always wondering how is it going to be for him, the recovery process, knowing that he wouldn't have this. How's that going to be? Anyway, talking with the therapist about his recovery, I asked. She said she's going to take about to really fully recover. She said about 8 months. I said, "Woof, okay." I said, "Okay." And then this was on the 8th
of February.
And on the 12th of February, I get a call, 11:45 p.m. LA time. I knew it was them, and I knew it wasn't going to be good. And they called me and they said, "Sorry, Mr. Zawinul, Eric is gone." And I think I just like froze. I just was like my body started shaking, and I just froze, man. Because, you know, I just thought at that moment, damn, I lost my little brother. You know, and Eric was the one we would talk about. We would talk so many times about, because he knew my lifestyle as always, like, you know, adrenaline and being active and, you know, with sports and being busted up with busted legs and this. He goes, "Yeah, man, when you get old, don't worry, I'm going to take care. You know, I'll cook you the food. You be in the wheelchair." I'll be, you know, and make sure you're okay. And we would joke about that all the time. Like, you know, you're going to be the one all busted up, but don't worry, because you're going to eat good, because I'll make sure you're going to be fine. And, you know, we joked about it, but there was a big part of me that felt comforting about this, because I knew Eric would be there, and not that I wasn't planning no early retirement, but just knowing that my little brother would be there, you know. But just wasn't meant to be, I guess, man. So when that happened, it was just like, wow, you know. And it's still now even. I mean, I haven't even the 5th district where he lived for many years, man. Right? I can't even go over there. You know, I can't even go there yet. I haven't even been there, and I don't want to. And we just got on how do you call it, the stone, on the gravestone. Like, we would go there and visit my parents, and sometimes I go twice, because I would like to go sometimes also by myself. And, you know, both of us, when we would go together, we would, like, you know, talk to my mom and dad, and you know, yeah, this was
at the grave,
at the gravestone. And then I would go by myself, because I needed that time for myself. And I just got the photo a few days ago of, now they have his name on the thing. And I don't know when I'm going to be ready to go over there to see that. You know, I mean, I want to go because I feel like I mean, out of responsibility, but I don't know yet. I don't know. I know what's going to happen, but I don't know if I'm really prepared for that.
It's so final, right?
Yeah, it's so final, and I know I have to kind of let go, man. But when you lose your parents, that's one thing, but your brother, especially if you're closer, that's another issue, man. That's like, you really feel like this is life. Life is really short. I mean, Eric was 55. He was 55. It's like, you know, and so full of life, you know. I mean, he was definitely. I mean, when you meet him, if he was here right now, if we was doing this thing and he was here right now, you knew he'd be here, and he probably would take over, and I would be fine with it because you know, it was funny because he always wanted to be the star. He is the guy, the extrovert. You know, I'm more the introvert, and but. It was fine because we would be together, and I let him do the show, and I would just sit back and listen and listen and watch, and he'd do his show, and he had many shows, and I don't mean on air. I'm talking in real life. He was a funny guy, and and well loved, and it was even I couldn't even bring myself to say Eric's funeral, until recently. I called it Eric's day when we did the service, because I couldn't even say funeral, man, But it really warmed my heart to see how well loved he was, I mean, I knew that, but to see it like in that context, and during that time, and how much affected impact he had on other people's life, and how much he was loved, and he would make. But this is the true mark when you really love somebody, because you could be so angry at him, which he would make me so mad sometimes, but to be mad for like 2 minutes and then it's over, right? And a lot of times, and also with his close friends, who also were my friends, That's even how I met, as even Birgit and all other.
It is your friend and assistant.
Yes, and it was through Eric, and so many things are through Eric that became, and Eric's day was very special, and Birgit and Ziggy and a few other people. I have to really thank them because they took so much care of putting this whole thing together, right? Which I don't even know how we would have done it. I mean, we would have done it, but I don't know how, And but it really showed you, and they did it because of Eric, because he was so loved.
Let's think of Erich Zawinul, and this is spontaneous. Let's play a few seconds and show some of his photos in memory of a great man. So, da schneidest du dann, das kriegst du von mir. Yeah, sorry, that was.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem. You're ready to go on?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, but Tony, you're keeping the memory alive. That's all you can do now, and you do it in a great way. And I have to applaud you on many things. But how you're doing very, very good on this, because it must be super hard. Thanks for talking about it.
No, it's a pleasure. I mean, we will also be introducing next year with the foundation a new award, which is called the Eric Zawinul Ambassador Award. And we will just,
which is a great way to always keep him.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to be in the
spotlight.
In the spotlight.
Yeah. And now, and I mean, we joke about it. Said, now Eric is really famous. He would have loved this stuff. He would have loved it, and but he was a legend in his own mind, as I joke with him a lot of times. But no, Eric will definitely be remembered. I mean, Vienna was Eric, and Eric was Vienna, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel coming in this time. I mean, last time when I came in March, different because different circumstances. I was kind of numb, trying to But the real test was how
it sinks in later.
It sinks in later, and how I was going to be now coming in, because usually so many things would have transpired with Eric at this point, and and that's never going to be again, right? And this time coming in, when I came in this time, this was a new chapter. This is like a new chapter in my life, in how I think it will affect me. Is all I really try to do is really try to appreciate really those moments, whether they're with people, with friends, because like I said in my eulogy, you never know what's around the corner, man. You don't know. but what you do know is how you're going to react when it does happen. I mean, that's what my dad told me when I was a little kid, and I used that in my usually because I used to say, I don't know what he's talking about. What do you mean? What's around the corner and how? But I know now, you know, and all I can do now is think about what's important. And Corona has something to do with this too. It's just all funny how sometimes these things come around. Because Corona was also like another way to kind of step back and reset and figure out what's important. And is it that necessary? You know, is it that necessary? Is it necessary? Do I need to get freaked out about that? Really? Is it that important? You know, is it worth it that I could lose this or lose that?
Even worth the energy.
Is it worth the energy? Is it worth
that you could use for something positive?
Positive, or even spending
or constructive, time. Or whatever.
Constructive meaning also spending time with people, not saying, you know, I was joking about with another friend of mine in Vienna who's also Austrian, and we always joked. We said, yeah, we would see each other at the Austrian functions, right? And we'd always say, let's get together. Let's do something sometime, get together. And the last time we did that, we said, you know what, let's stop this. Because we've been saying this for years. And we never meet for lunch, nothing. And finally we said, okay, come over. I told him, okay, come over to my house tomorrow. And he said, I have some appointments, but you know what? I'm going to cancel them. I'm coming over to your house tomorrow. And he did. And we laughed because we said, and we were so glad we did that, because it would have been the same thing, you know? I mean, it was like that with Eric too on one thing. And I'm so glad actually it happened, because and that's one of the things I was saying, he would make you so mad. This is like a few days before he called me to tell me he was in the hospital. So we're on a Zoom. And he says, hey, what are you doing? And I said, well, you know, it's usual. I'm getting ready to start work, you know, in the studio here. He goes, you still have those tequila bottles? You know, because he worked for Padre Azul. So when he would come to L.A., he'd have these little bottles, which is a tequila, a high-end tequila. And he had these bottles. And I said, yeah, I have the bottles. And he says, is there stuff in it? And I said, sure, I don't really drink, man, you know. And he was astonished that there was stuff in the bottles. Right. I said, yeah. And he goes, open one up, man, and let's have a slug and have a toast. I said, Eric, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here. I'm getting ready to start my day. It's evening for you. He goes, come on, don't be such a fucking square and have a toast with your brother, man. I said, okay. Man, I'm so glad I did that.
Oh my God.
Because I didn't want to do it. You know, because I knew I had a busy day. And this is what I'm talking about, Corona, man. This is what I'm talking about. This whole thing really changed also for me. Slowly, but it's changed. Because I got the tequila. He's on Zoom. We drink one, have another. By the time he finished, I was drunk. and right when I was drunk, I was like, shit, man, I'm fucking buzzed. And he goes, hey, man, I got to go. I said, you fucking asshole, man. It's like, what am I going to do now? I got to like go to sleep because I'm so drunk and shit, right? You got me fucking drunk on Zoom. Yeah. Right? And he goes off and, you know, and when I look back, man.
You're happy that it happened.
That was our last,
memory. Yeah.
That was our last drink. That was our last thing like that. Had no idea what was coming around the corner, man.
Like the famous Joe Zawinul said, you never know what's around the corner. Tony, thank you so much for sharing all these great stories, opinions, etc. with us and with the viewers. Danke vielmals, lieber Tony. Es war mir ein Vergnügen. It was a pleasure and an honor. And also in honor of your dad and your brother. Thank you very much for coming.
It's my pleasure, Rudy. Thank you.
Anytime again. Ich sage danke vielmals fürs Zuschauen. Das war eine ganz spezielle Sendung ohne Maulkorb mit tolle Zahlen. Unten eingeblendet seht ihr, wie ihr mir folgen könnt an Insta, Facebook etc. etc. Auch gibt es die Musiksendung Rudi Backstage jeden Sonntag. Und ich sage am Schluss wie immer, danke fürs Zusehen, bleiben Sie gesund, stay safe and stay human, bleiben Sie auch menschlich und love and respect.
You wanna know what goes on backstage? Oh, come on. Let me take you by the hand. Ow!
Rudy, are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen. The way I see it, Barry, this should be a very dynamite show.
You know, I have no idea what the name of this program is, but you're watching it.
Backstage,
All you ever want,
backstage,
all you ever need.
backstage,
Your dreams will be fulfilled once you are there. You'll never wanna leave. You wanna sell your ass for that backstage pass. Backstage is just for the invited. Backstage.